For me, it was a moment of anguish. All my life, my whole adult life, I have believed in merger and unity of the two territories. It was said by Li Guangyao in 1965, after the separation of Singapore from Malaysia. Today, my topic is the expelled lion, Singapore's separation from Malaysia. No matter in China, America, or any other parts of the world, when talk about the independence of our motherland, probably we are proud of it. However, Singapore was an exception. In 1965, it was forced to be independent. So today I will talk about the factors which brought Singapore's separation from Malaysia and its effects. Here's the contents. First, let me briefly introduce the historical context. In 1945, although Japanese had left Singapore after the World War II, the British came back. In order to gain real independence, Singaporeans voted for merger with Malaysia in 1962. And in 1963, Singapore declares independence ahead of formation of Malaysia. And in the same year, Malaysia was formed, comprising Malaysia, Singapore, Sarawak, and Sabah. But in 1964, several riots happened in Singapore. It was related to racial discrimination and hatred for communism. Finally, in 1965, Singapore was expelled by Malaysia. So what resulted in Singapore's separation? Basically, there are two reasons: racial clash and ideology clash. First, let's look at racial clash. Racial clash refers to racial compensation of self-sovereigns. At that time, in Singapore, Chinese were the majority, while Malaysia was a Malay-Muslim majority nation. Here you can say there are several racial riots happened in Singapore in 1965, and an eyewitness of these riots said, "I saw an old Chinese man who was pulled off her bicycle, beaten up, and his bicycle thrown into the river." So you can say this racial clash is really severe. The second clash is ideology clash. Here we talk about political ideology. According to its definition, it includes the goal of a society and the ways to achieve it. Actually, before the separation, the ideological clash has already happened. In 1962, there are socialists in Singapore that began demonstrations against any merger with Malaysia. They even called the proponents of such a merger pro-colonists. For Malaysia, the president of which was worried about the socialists and wanted them out of the picture. However, after the independence of Singapore, its GDP grows rapidly. Though people think it's too small and too vulnerable, however, it has successfully become a developed country. Since 1965, leaders of Malaysia and Singapore have believed that these two separated states would be compelled by historical, geographical, economic, and social ties to reunite someday. Will we really reunite someday? Only time will tell. Thank you. That's my references.